Greetings children, welcome to your online classes. This is Aishwarya. The following video is for class 4, subject General Science, chapter 3, Roots and Flowers of Plants, part 2. In the part 1 video, you learnt about roots. That is, what are the different kinds of types of roots, that is the taproot system and the fibrous root system. And then you learned about modifications and adaptations in roots, that is the storage roots and the aerial roots. Then you learned about the function of roots. Now we are going to continue the chapter with flowers. Flowers grow on stem and they are most attractive part of the plant. They are of many shapes, colors and sizes. Now you can see I have given few examples on your screen. All the flowers don't look alike. That means they don't look similar. They all look very different. Their color is different, their appearance is different. But they are the most attractive part of the plant, and they come in all different kinds of shapes, colors and sizes. Some flowers will be in the size of an ant and some flowers will be in the size of a honeybee or in your size of your palm, and sunflowers can be even bigger. So it is the most attractive part of the plant. Flowers are responsible for creating seeds inside them, and seeds grow into new plant. That is why they are called the reproductive organ of the plant. As you can see in the picture, the first seeds start germinating and it grows into a small plant, and the bud appears and you can see the flower. This flower, after some days, it will turn into a fruit having seeds inside them. Now these seeds, if you take the seeds and put it in the ground again, it will become a new plant. So this is called the reproductive organ of the plant, which the flowers are called the reproductive organ of the plant. Next is about the bud. A bud is a small swelling like growth on the stem from which a flower develops. Here you can see from a small bud a beautiful rose or a beautiful flower are grown. A bud is covered with by green colored petal like structure called sepals. Now the different parts of the flower you will be learning in the next slide, but for now you should know that the green covering of the bud is called the sepals. The flower also have the sepals. Now here in the picture you can see this this is the structure of a flower, showing all the different parts of the flower. Now here you are going to learn what are petals, anther, filament, receptacle, ovary, sepal, style and stigma. These are the main parts that you are going to learn. So the colorful petals and the green colored sepals generally surround the flower. Now these are the sepals. You can see here this green part. These are the sepals. This is present even in the bud. Sepal is a green colored and it is the outermost part of the flower. It is the outermost part of the flower. It is the remains of the covering of the bud. When the flower was a bud, this itself covers the sepals, only cover the bud. Now that the flower has bloomed out, the sepals become very small. A sepal protects the flower when it is inside the bud. These sepals are important to protect the flowers when it is a bud. Next is petals. Petals are the most important part of, they are the most attractive part of the flower. A petal is generally bright color. All the flowers that you see, they are always bright color, or most of them are always bright colors like red, pink or yellow, orange. you can see colors, you can see flowers in different colors. So the color itself makes the flower very attractive. That is because of the presence of petals. Petals attracts insects and other pollinators to the flowers. Pollinators means now these flies will come and sit from the anther. Here as you can see, anther will have pollen grains. That pollen grains will be carried out by the insects or these honeybees, which get attracted to the flower. From that is because of the petals. The next part is stamens. Stamens are the male part of the flowers. It contains the pollen grain. Now this anther and filament together they form the stamens. Okay, so the stamen is made up of two parts, that is the anther and the filament. The anther holds the pollen grains and the filament is there to hold the anther. So from here this is the filament and this is the anther. Now what I have colored red, that is the anther. Inside the anther only lot of pollen grains are present. That is the anther, the yellow color that you can see, they are the anther. Anther and filament together form the stamens. These stamens are nothing but the male part of the flower. A flower will have the male part and also the female part. Next, the carpels. Carpels means it is the female part of the flower. They are also called pistil. Carpel, carpels, carpels, or they are the female part of the flower and they are also called pistils. Now the carpel is also called pistils and is made of three parts, that is the stigma, style and the ovary. As you can see here, the stigma, this part is the stigma, this is the style and this is the ovary. All these three parts together form the carpels. So the carpels are the female part of the flower and the stamens are the male part of the flowers. Uh, Stamens are formed from anther and filaments and your carpels are formed from stigma, sepals and ovary. The stigma has the sticky part that attaches the pollen grains. The pollen grains from other flowers come to when the insects bring it to these flowers to come here to take the honey or the sugar syrup which is in the flowers. When it comes here, the pollen grains get stuck to the sticky part, that is the stigma. Here the stigma, it gets stuck. Now from the stigma it passes down through style to the ovary. Now the ovary contains ovules which becomes seeds after fertilization. After the pollen grains meets the ovary, it gets fertilized and forms seeds. So the important parts of the flower are sepals, petals, stamen and carpels. SEPAL, petals, STAMEN stamen, CARPELS carpels. These are the important parts of the flower. Now sepals means there is a sepal is the green colored and it is outermost part of the flower. Petal means it is generally bright color. Stamens, it is the male part of the flower. The anther and the filament are the two parts of stamen. Carpels, it is the female part of the flower. The three parts of the are the stigma, style and ovary, the male and the female part of the flower. Next, you are going to learn about solitary and cluster flowers. Solitary flowers means flowers that bloom on a different stem are called single flowers or solitary flowers. Now the flowers like the lotus or your rose or lilies etc. are all single flowers. That means they don't bloom in groups. They are just single. In one stem you can see only one flower. You can't see many flowers in one stem. So they are called the solitary flowers. Solitary is nothing but the single flowers. Examples are roses, lotuses, lilies, etc. Next is cluster flower. There are some flowers that bloom in groups or clusters. Now the gladius, azaleas and sunflower. Yes, sunflower and daisy are all cluster flowers. We all thought that the sunflower was a single flower, but sunflower is a cluster flower. It is a group of flowers in one stem. The both sunflower and daisy, each petal represents one flower. How many other petals you can see in a sunflower? It is made of that many flowers. That means it is a cluster of flowers. Now the other flowers, they are all, you can see that it is a cluster they are growing in. So the difference between the solitary and cluster is, solitary they are single flowers. Cluster means they are group of flowers. Now some facts is that flowers do not always smell good. Titanarum or the corpus flower is one of the world's rarest, largest, smelliest and strangest looking flower. It smells like a rotting dead body. The flower is over 2 meters tall and 3 meters in circumference. They smell like a rotting fish. In order to attract flies, they are pollinators. The odor is so bad that some people faint on the smelling it. Next is, you're going to see about functions of a flower. As you all know, flower are the reproductive part of the plant. They are very essential for creation of the new plant. That is this is a very important function of the flower. As you can see here in the picture, in the first picture, the flower becomes a small unripened fruit. Then it becomes the fruit. This is an example of a pomegranate. This is the pomegranate flower and how the pomegranate is formed from the flower. So the flower is the essential and it is the reproductive part of the plant. Roses and jasmines are used for making perfumes. Not only roses and jasmines, there are many other flowers which are used to make perfumes, because perfumes smell very good and it makes us smell good. If we smell good, we feel good. So the perfumes are extracted from the flowers. Cauliflower, broccoli and banana flowers are edible. These flowers we can eat. The cauliflower, the broccoli, the banana flowers are the edible flowers. That means we can eat those flowers. And we get spices like saffron, cloves. They are all the dried up buds. They are not the first one is the example of saffron or kesar. Saffron or kesar is extracted from the flower. The flower name is crocus flower, and the cloves are the dried flower buds. They are not the bloomed flower buds, they are the dried flower buds. Flower is also used for decoration. It is used for many bouquets, garlands and rangoli. All the rangoli looks, when it is made with flowers, it looks very beautiful, right? So these are the main functions of the flower, and this ends the chapter. In this chapter, you learned about the roots and the flowers, their functions, their specialities, their modification, their adaptations. What are the different parts of the flower is what you learned in this chapter. Thank you, children. Stay at home, stay safe, take care of yourself and keep learning. Thank you very much.